So you're going to do a double hot take.
A double take.
Yep. The daily double.
The daily double hot take. New is that new?
That's our newest
segment.
segment.
Can we brand that?
Yeah.
All right. Daily double hot take.
Sponsored by Mamitas. What is up, YouTube? We are back for another episode of Marketing Mondays, and today we are talking about all things video as it pertains to the AEC space. And I figured if we're going to be hosting a video about videos, we better have the one and only Tony Callen with us.
What's up, guys?
Tony, who are you?
My name is Tony Callen, and I am the content marketing manager here at Vnzo. I've been working with Andrew and Vnzo for the better half of a year. I've had about a decade, which is crazy to say, of video experience now, shooting different things, real estate, commercial spaces, all sorts of fun stuff. And yeah, so pretty excited to be obviously a part of the team, but just showcasing these awesome spaces and bring some insight to your audience.
Awesome. I love that for you. So actually what I want to do is I'm going to throw you a curveball here.
All right.
Who is your favorite cinematographer / videographer, and why?
I'd have to go with, and he's a big inspiration for me, but Daniel Schiffer off of YouTube. His cinematography is just very unique. His in-camera transitions are incredible. His sound design is incredible. And yeah, I basically go to him and look at his channel when I'm looking for inspiration. He's guided a lot of my style of cinematography.
Awesome. Very cool. I wasn't asked, but I'm going to share mine too. I really like the storytelling ability from a Hollywood director by the name of Christopher Nolan. I just like his direction and I like his way of storytelling. I think it's hard to film like that for what we're going to be talking about today, but I think as an inspiration to think about creative storytelling in the way that he does is something I try to apply in the work we do. What are we here to talk about today? We're here to talk about AEC videography, the role of video in AEC, and we got a couple different topics. We're going to cover photography versus videography, different video types, and video placement. So for our first segment, we're going to be talking about photography versus videography, and I think versus is kind of a harsh word. I think photography absolutely has a place, and it's really necessary. But I want to talk about why video is a little bit more dynamic and can do a little bit more for your firm. So first things first, Tony, I want you to talk to us a little bit about the opportunity storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. When I think of myself as a consumer or an audience that you're trying to appeal to, and I think about these amazing projects that the firm themselves is creating and putting out, I think that I would want my audience to know everything that went into that, the passion, the blood, sweat, and tears, and basically the story of how it became a building. And so to post a couple pictures or a little write-up is good. It's giving information, but there's no, again, passion. I'm going to use that word again because it's so impactful. It doesn't show the passion, the impact, anything behind it, versus a video, which you can hear someone's tone of voice, tonality, you can see movement, and it's much more dynamic and much more engaging. Right. It's a long-winded answer, but that's really why I would choose video for storytelling over photography. On
top of that, I think it also shows scale.
Yes.
Because the photos you'll see of a brand new office build out or of a new building, the photos are pretty expansive, but you get to see that moving dynamically and you're like, wow, that's actually a really good sized space. Mm-hmm. Or you get to actually feel a little bit of what it's like to go there. I think kind of the size and scale is something that's not really picked up all that well either. I do want to jump into our third point here, which is talking about process and expertise. So if you have a PM who's hosting the video or narrating, they're able to talk about the different elements of the design or of the construction process. So your viewers are going to see, oh, these people are really the experts. And if you're filming an in-progress project, there's a really big opportunity to educate there. With photography, it's all buttoned up and it's done, and you don't get to hear those little kernels of information.
Absolutely.
And lastly, I think it's more human to showcase somebody talking about a project. And there are two different paths with that. As the firm, you can tell the story of the project. You can also flip it and turn it into a client testimonial, where you have the end user or your actual client or even a project partner who worked on the project talk about what was done as well.
I cannot preach enough about client testimonials. Andrew gets sick of it. They are so important. Again, having a write-up, like I mentioned earlier, of a customer testimonial though this time, it's good. You got to have those, but a video testimonial of a client speaking and having that passion, that really shows how they felt and what their experience was with you, and that will get you a sale.
Today's hot take, at least mine anyway, is that firms are not using video enough. Every time there's a new project, you'll see a couple of nice photos and maybe a nice caption. Let's take that experience to the next level. Let's showcase a design element. Let's talk about the engineering behind it or the construction process or a fun fact. Let's humanize the project. Let's show what actually went into it.
That's great, yeah. I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off that hot take for mine.
So you're gonna do a double hot take.
A double take.
Yep. The daily double?
The daily double hot take. New, is that new?
That's our newest
Can we
segment.
brand that?
Yeah.
All right, daily double hot
Sponsored by
take.
Mamitas.
No, my hot take, similar but different, is that as an AEC firm, as someone creating commercial projects, if you are not hiring out video, you must be doing it internally. And I know a lot of you guys aren't. I'm going to call you out right now. And the reason for that is everything that we've been talking about. Video builds credibility, it builds trust, it builds brand awareness. Yeah, you can post some graphics, yeah, you can post some pictures, but get into that video. The motion, the dynamic, the engagement that you get out of video is so much more powerful and will make a bigger impact for you and your company.
And it'll help you stand out.
Yes.
As everybody else is doing photography. So a differentiator.
Boom.
All right, we're going to jump into segment number 2, and that is different types of videos. So we're going to talk about project highlights. We're going to talk about project stories, brand impact videos, reels, and last but not least, web series. So Tony, how about you kick us off? Talk to us a little bit about the first one on that totem pole, and that is a project highlight.
Yeah, as firms build these commercial spaces, we feel that it's very important to have project highlights. And what we mean by that is either you or hiring out a videographer to come in and film the space with really nice cinematic videos. That's basically it. You put it together in a nice string, you have some music below it, maybe some title cards if necessary, or light narration. But other than that, it's to showcase the beautiful space you made.
And from a cost perspective or a production perspective, it doesn't take a whole lot. Of course, you want to have a nice camera. You don't really need any audio equipment for it. You could do a nice camera with a nice gimbal, or if you're good, holding that yourself and keeping it steady. And yeah, you just get a couple of nice shots. You do some long distance shots, you do some close-ups of stuff, you vary it a little bit, and boom, you've got a nice 30 to 60 second long form or short form video. And I'd say that's also horizontal. You're not going to be doing a vertical video for that. But you could chop it up into vertical videos for social media that are 15 seconds or 20 seconds to a nice hip hop song off of Instagram.
Which we'll get to at the end of the segment.
We will get to that eventually, yes. Next up, we got project stories. So I'm going to take this one if that's
Absolutely.
all right. So this is where you're bringing the production up a little bit and you're actually telling the story of the project. So you're maybe doing 1, 2, or 3 different interviews. You're setting it up very similar to this setup. We'll show some photos of what an interview setup should look like. And you're able to tell the project story. And there are really 2 different paths. Either you can tell the story as the firm, where one of your project managers is narrating or doing an interview talking about it, or you have your end client. And we talked about that a little bit earlier. So 2 different paths for this one. And the purpose of it is to showcase your work in a more meaningful way. You're going a little bit above those cinematic shots, you're adding some narrative to it, and it's a wonderful piece for proposals and marketing. Next up, we've got our brand impact video. Tony, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Okay. Yeah, brand impact video or brand story, as we refer to it. It's a little bit higher of a production even than the project story themselves. So In this one, we're actually talking about the firm or the company who created the space and the impact that they had on not only this project and the people that are affected, but all of their people that they affect. So really going in deep on the why of that company, and it's a really good piece to have on your website that explains who you are, why you do what you do, and why you love it, basically.
Right. And I think the current competitor to that type of video is just a video about our firm. Like, here's our process, here's some B-roll of us shaking hands and, you know, doing architecture drawings and stuff. Nobody really cares about that. That could also be a hot take. But if you come at it from the community's perspective or your client's perspective and you're able to hear what they have to say about working with you, that means a lot more than you just kind of talking about yourself. So trying to elevate that experience. Reels and short videos. So these are going to be great for social media. AEC, the AEC industry really likes LinkedIn. So these are great for posting there. And what's cool about these types of videos is you can oftentimes pull them from some of the longer form videos that you're shooting. And so let's say you do a project story, you put it on your YouTube channel, you can chop that up into a couple different micro bits or reels and post them to your social channels to drive people to your YouTube channel to see the full thing. So that's really how that type of deployment might look. So for a web series, I think it's a super awesome way to get consistent content. And in fact, we practice what we preach here at Vnzo. We have 2 different web series here. We have this Marketing Mondays where we're talking about insights and we have a sit-down conversation. Then we also have our AEC All-Stars series, which I strongly recommend you go check out, where we showcase some of the top commercial projects. So the purpose of a web series is really, it's different. It depends on your audience. There's more informative type content. There's also more entertaining type content. And I think each one needs to be different and measured differently. Some have goals for new business development. Let's develop something that's going to get us conversations with different pursuits. Others are going to be, hey, let's really showcase our work on an ongoing basis. Let's develop a series around that. And it's just a wonderful way to show up and film once per month, and you get X, Y, and Z content. You're able to break it down onto social media, and you're able to build an audience. So we're big proponents of web series. We've done a number of them for clients, ranging from informative to entertaining, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So about halfway through filming here, we just had a little side conversation. What about gear? So we're going to talk a little bit about gear and not so much how to get started, but kind of what we're using, what you could potentially use for yourselves as well.
Yep. Obviously, a video about video, you have to talk about gear, right? We got to at least inform people if they wanted to try or what they should expect from a company that comes out and does this work. So what I've got is I got a list of pretty basic gear that we use on a day-to-day basis, and then how it interlinks with the different types of videos that we talked about. So I'll start with the gear list. So to kick off our gear list, we've got the camera that you're going to be using. So a few of the cameras we use, we have a couple Sony's ZV-E1, we have a Red Komodo, and Sony a6500 as a backup. So we're running a 3-camera setup right now. I'll actually put a clip of what this setup looks like in right now so you can see. We've got an audio recorder down below and a light as well, which I'll get into. But for your camera, you want to make sure you have a really nice, good professional camera. If you're a firm that doesn't want to hire out, you can do it on an iPhone, but we do recommend the higher quality camera.
And honestly, iPhone content I think has a place for personal channels like your own LinkedIn, and you're taking photos of the team and whatnot. That's all cool, but really we strongly recommend high quality videography going out on company channels.
Next, you're going to look at your lenses, which is closely paired with your camera. Once you get into that higher quality video, they don't come together, which some people have a misconception about. So if you're doing real estate or if you're doing these commercial spaces, you have to have a wide angle lens to get the entire picture in frame. But you're also going to need a close angle lens if you're doing stuff like this, good interview stuff. So got to look and make sure you have the right lenses. Next on the list is what you put your camera on. Are you setting up for an interview where you need it on a tripod? Are you setting up on a gimbal where you need a smooth shot? Actually, Sony has developed some really cool in-body stabilization too, so you could just run it on a monopod and it would act as a gimbal as well, but if you really want to be sure it's smooth, I would suggest gimbal. Then we get into audio. As I said before, we're running an external audio recorder. You can most certainly just run audio straight into your camera body. That's fine, but we like to do the external route so we can use a little bit higher quality of mics. But you could get away with a cheap lavalier set for $300 that is wireless, and there's 2 of them, so that would work great as well. Last on my list is professional lighting or some source of natural lighting. If you're not looking to invest in, professional lighting or an on-camera light, you should understand how natural lighting works and where that light should be so that your shot looks professional.
So obviously today we're talking a lot about video, and that's actually a service that we provide here at Vnzo AEC, and we've done a number of these. I would say we've got some experience. So if you're looking to have a project filmed or you want to have a short film done about your firm, reach out. We're happy to have those discussions, and we'd love to do that work for you. And for our last segment, we're going to talk about platforms and usage. For pretty much all the videos we talked about, whether it's highlights, project stories, brand story videos, those are best suited for a website. You're going to want that to be on the project profile page. So if you build or design a bakery, you're going to have that project profile. Make sure that the video ends up there. And then as it pertains to proposals or new pursuits, naturally they're going to ask you, hey, what bakeries have you designed or built before? And you can showcase that project profile page and they'll find the video. So I think that's one way of doing it.
I have another hot take. If you order or hire out a company to film a long form horizontal video for you, please do not post it on Instagram. It does not fit. It does not look good. It's super tiny. If you want to put something on Instagram, ask the company that you hired out to cut it into some reels for you. But all of that long form video should go right onto your website, just like Andrew's saying.
I'm going to double hot take, and I'm going to say that goes for LinkedIn as well. On LinkedIn, you got a nice tiny little video and you got the caption or whatever, and you open it up and it's just tiny and people got to tilt. Don't do that. If you got a 2 or 3 minute long video, do a couple of reels and drive people to the actual video on YouTube or your website. So we talked about website, we talked about proposals, we talked a little bit about LinkedIn, last but not least, YouTube. So we strongly recommend you have different playlists. So if you have a couple project highlights, you got a playlist for that. You got some customer testimonials or some more meaty videos, have a playlist for that. And then you can use those playlists or those videos on your website as well. So I think that's pretty much everything as it pertains to platforms. And really, when you think about new business or pursuits, proposals are the big item. And I think that, as long as it's in a digital media like YouTube or your website, you can use the proposal to drive people to that platform.
And remember, YouTube is the #1 search platform, search engine for video. I think even above like TikTok at this point. It's tried and true. Create a YouTube channel for your business if you do not have one and utilize it. Put all of your video on there. I promise it will impact you positively.
So we've talked a lot about different projects and different types of videos and web series, and we have a small little shameless plug here. We'd like you to go check out our Vnzo AEC All-Stars series. So this is where we showcase some of the top commercial construction projects, and we bring in different firms. They share their experience, and it's just a wonderful time. So we're going to link that down below. We'll probably have one show up on the screen somewhere, so go check that series out as well. And on that note, it is time to end. So a quick little recap of what we've covered today. We talked about photography versus videography. We talked about video types. We talked about video placement, and last but not least, gear. So we've covered a lot, and Tony said it earlier, there's a lot here. We're going to be delving more into video and all things AEC marketing in this series, Marketing Mondays. So make sure you're subscribed. Please like the video, and until next time, we'll see you next time. And until next time, and until next time, and until next time, and until next time.